Okay, we're starting now. The plan for today is to go through one halacha and the Ein Yitzhak, then to start the Gemara. And there's a very interesting Rambam we're going to learn today as well. You said Leilu Nishmat, Avraham ben Nozuk, Ruach Hashem Tenahenu Began Eden. So halacha Aleph and Klalei Talmud. We finished the Klalei Mishnayot. Now we're doing the Klalei Talmud. We did most of them. Okay. Gemara, what is Gemara? There are Ein Yitzhak, right? Barachia, please close the door.
Yeah.
Gemara hi hata'amim ve'apirush shel Mishnayot. The Gemara is the reasons and the explanation behind the Mishnayot. Shehibero Rabbeinu v'Rav Ashi, Ravina v'Rav Ashi. That the authors of the Gemara is Ravina and Rav Ashi. Those are the people that wrote the Gemara. They were Geonei Olam. And just like Rabbi Yehuda Nasi compiled the Mishnayot, Ken Asar Rav Ashi beseder Gemara, so too Rav Ashi did the same with the Gemara. In which way? She'asaf ve'kibetz kol ha'masa u'matan she'al ha'mishnayot. He took all of the back and forth analyzing of the Mishnah and everything that's there, Ushar denishinit chadshu, and all of the laws, the chidushim, that came out of those arguments, that came out of that back and forth, and he wrote it down. Instead of knowing it by heart, people knew the arguments by heart before. Ravina and Rav Ashi took those arguments, and even though the people's minds became weaker, and really there's a isur to write down Torah Sheba'al Peh, he also felt that there's a need to write down the Torah Sheba'al Peh one step past the Mishnayot, which is the Gemara, which is the analyzing of the Mishnah. V'nitkaven bo ledaled dvarim yakarim. And through doing so, he got four valuable things. Aleph, lefaresh kol ta'amei Mishnah, to explain all of the reasons in the Mishnah, meaning why does the Mishnah pass in a certain way? He explains the reason why. Bet, pasak hadin la'alacha detnaim ba'amoraim. He tells you most of the time what we follow like, which Tana we follow like, which Amorah we follow like. It's a lot. Sometimes as a Mishnah could have four opinions. How do we know which one we follow? They all sound right. And through the back and forth in the Gemara, in the end, he'll say that this one is the one that was practiced, and sometimes he'll even bring proofs of the rabbis that followed such a thing as well. Gimel gezerot v'takanot shena'asu acher achar Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Three is the different decrees and different takanot. Takanot means like enactments that were done after Rabbeinu HaKadosh passed away. So they made certain changes and they made certain things after Rabbeinu HaKadosh, which is the one that put together the Mishnah. And number four, drashot v'agadot v'toalta meruba. And also he brought us stories and agadita, agadaic teachings that's connected to the teachings in the Gemara, which the Mishnayot, generally speaking, doesn't have so many stories. Very few places there's stories in Mishnah. In the Gemara, however, there's stories. Ve'asar Rav Ashi me'agmara madura kama v'batra. Rav Ashi made from the Gemara basically madura. How do you say madura? Additions? Like additions. There's a first edition, there's a second edition. Just like anybody else, first they write a rough draft. That's Madura Kama. And then he went over it and he metaken the first draft. That's revised the first draft. That's called Madura Batra, the second edition, or the revised edition. Right? And that's how he solidified the Gemara. Which on that, nobody could change anything except for the Rabbanan Savurai, which were Talmidim of the people of the yeshivas that the Amoraim taught in. And a little bit that was added, that was accepted, and by the way, everything that was taught by the Rabbanan Savurai as additions to the Gemara, only if the generation of the Geonim approved of that change did they do it. So as you could see, we're very, very careful with adding anything to the Gemara, even changing a word. Sometimes you'll see in the Gemara parentheses. Parentheses, although the parentheses are important, however, they're a klal. We skip the parentheses. It's just there either to tell you what the Gemara means to say, or could have meant to say, or what you would have thought to say. But the parentheses, we skip. Brackets, we say. That's actually brought into the lashon of the Gemara, brackets. So we'll go on this more next time. Okay. Huh? Could be references sometimes too, but sometimes you'll see parentheses that have words, and the word goes very well with the Gemara, but we don't read it because it's not in brackets; it's in parentheses. It's the rule. Okay, we have today some volunteers that are going to read. We're on top of the page, Daf Yud Aleph. Unculus bar Clonimus.
Where's the mic? Loud enough. Oh, okay.
Unculus bar Clonimus, Yud Aleph Amar Aleph. You give him a minute if you want, or I'll pause the video. Correct. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה bדברו. בכבוד רבי יעקב.
He was prominent. Shadak that's here. Linda, the Romea, the Abtarea.
Abatre.
So basically, the Caesar sent troops after Roman troops after him. He did this 3 times, multiple times. So we're going to read the Shechanelu Victoria. But every time when those troops came, Uku spoke to them, and he recited them verses from the Torah, and then we're going to see this. It happened twice, 3 times, and we're going to see it. Very interesting, actually. Okay. Hadar Shadar, Gunadad Neromer.
One sec, you skipped the word. Mashchineu bekrae igayur. Okay.
And then he converted them.
Right.
They also converted after hearing him talk. So Hadar Shadar Gunadad Neromai, Neromai, Abtarea. Very hard to do this.
Right. And if you see here, we have brackets. Do you have brackets? Right. So another group of soldiers. Okay.
And so the Caesar sent them again another troop of soldiers. Amar Lehu, he told them, Lo timeru le. Don't talk to Ukulus. Don't say anything. Oh, what's for le? The Lo indeed. Don't say anything to them. Ki havu shakalu ve'azlu. And as they started talking, as they were taking him along, as they grabbed Ukulus, they grabbed, taking him back to the Caesar as a king. Amar Lehu said to them, Ukulus, Ema lahu miltam ve'alma'a. Let me tell you something trivial. I'm just reading from their translation. Ifyora nakat dura kamed pifyora. The Nifura holds the torch in front of the Torah.
Right. So these are rankings, right? Nifiora, Pifiora. These are rankings of Romans.
Nifura is Dukasa. So the Nifura is from the Dukasa. Dukasa the Hekmona, Dukasa and Hekmona, and Hekmona the Koma, and the Hekmona in front of the king. Koma Dinatak Dura. So
Koma is the king?
Koma says
Koma's the king, yeah. So I think he's saying the different rankings. And I think with this, I remember why he's saying this. I remember reading it. Why he's basically explaining all the rankings.
Okay.
And what he's trying to say in the end, I think we're about to read it. Koma Minakat, Mura Mikame, and Shi. Now, would the king hold the torch before the ordinary people? So I think what he's trying to say how he's comparing how the Romans are lower than the Jewish people. And they're like completely different, how the king doesn't really care about them. And I think we're going to explain it now. Now, would the king hold the torch before ordinary people? Amar Le, and I answered him, no. Amar Lehu, Uklus told them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Nakat, Murad, Kamei Israel, but the Holy One must be the king of all kings, hold the torch before the Jews. And the thing that Hashem will let with the hand, Imam, etc. As is written, Hashem was before them by day. In a pillar of cloud, and that's in a pillar of cloud, and then a pillar of cloud. Okay.
Parashat Beshalach. It is.
Yeah. We're supposed to read that in the top here, right? So what he's trying to say is that, oh, look, your king doesn't do anything for you, but the Jewish people, their king, he holds up the world for them, and he points the torch just for them. And they converted. You got your
Yeah. So he converted the second group.
Yeah, the second group. And then again, the seed is going to send a third time. Hadar Shadar Gunada Afrina and Batra. He sent another troop after him, Amar Levu. Lord Tishtau Vide Behadea. Do not discuss anything with him. Kina Ktiv Le as the Azile. And then, okay, oh, so next is the other people, right? They're taking him again. Same situation as before. Hazal Mezuzah saw the Mezuzah as he was leaving the fig door.
What does it say in brackets? The manha apitcha. That was
His entrance.
yes, very important words here. We're going to see in a minute why.
He puts his hand on it. And he asked them, my high. He asked them, what is this? Right?
Right.
Oh, they asked him. Right. No, he asked them.
No, they asked him.
No, he asked them.
He asked them.
It's the soldiers who asked Unkelus.
No,
He's asking them.
Onkelos asked them. Right.
And Marle.
It's rhetoric, like rhetorically.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amrulin and Emma Lan Ata. Tell us. You tell us. Amarle Onkelos explains. Menahigu.
Minhago shalola.
The way of the world is that Melech Basar Vadam Yoshev Bifnehem.
Mi bifnim.
A king of flesh and blood sits inside his palace. The Avdav, the Shamarim, also the Bakus. And his servants guard from the outside, right? So again, he's once again comparing the Roman people to the Jewish people.
Right.
He's going to say, oh, the Romans, they live their whole life to protect the king, right? But with the Jews, it's the opposite. The Hashem protects us, right? The Elu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Holy One Hashem, Adav Bifnihem Bifnim.
Avadav mi bifnim.
His servants are inside. The who, the Shamaran, the Bahutz, while he guards them from the outside. Shneimar, Hashem Yishmar Tzedcha, Uvarcha, Matav Adalam. As it's written, Hashem will guard the departure. Okay, everyone was funny. And a Gayur. And they converted again.
Third group.
And after what? Oh, true. And after that, the Caesar gave up.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop there for a sec. Very good. Very good. So, David, do you have the English? Can you go through what's an apifior, nifiora, apifiora, dukasa, hegmona?
So a minor official.
No, on the left over there, right there.
On the left doesn't have everything.
Yeah.
It says kolonimos
Yeah.
is the Greek name meaning one with good reputation.
Okay, so Clonimus is which the Gemara says is the father of Onkelos. There are Sfarim that I saw that Onkelos was the son of Titus. The son of Titus. There are some people that hold that Onkelos was the son or grandson of Titus. Right. So I don't know. That's why I asked this question when I learned this Gemara. I said, wait, I pulled up several Sfarim that say Clonimus. I don't know who Clonimus is. I know that I thought that Onkelos' father was Titus. Could be. So I'm still trying to find who Clonimus was. Okay, continue.
Troop is Ganda. This word is also found in the middle of in Middle Persian as gun.
Okay.
Okay. Nifiora is minor official, apparently from Greek Neapolis.
Okay.
Apophoria is high official, and Dukasa is a duke.
Okay.
Koma just says ruler.
Okay, so these are all different rankings of people, and converting them, one has a higher intelligence than the other, or one has a higher connection to the king, a more closer connection to the king than the other. So the one that's closer to the king is harder to convert than the ones farther from the king, because the ones closer to the king takes care of. So now Onkelos is telling them, really? Yeah, you're that close to the king, you really think that the king cares about you? Like you were saying? I don't know if the king really cares about you that much. I'll give you some examples. And he gave the example of Hashem Olech Liftehem Yomam. Your king can't do that for you. And then he gave an example that, let's say you have a king in a tent. King is sitting in the tent. He has guards all around him. The king doesn't care if those guards die. The whole purpose is for those guards to die like pawns so that the king has time to escape, that they'll fight off the guards. However, Hashem does the opposite. Hashem, servants are actually in the inside, and they're serving Hashem, and Hashem is protecting them from the outside. You understand? So, like it says in the pasuk, "Kaneshir Yair Kino al Gozalav Yirahef." It's like an eagle that takes the arrows for his baby, for the chicks on the back. Hashem takes the arrows for us, and trust me, the arrows don't hurt Hashem. Okay, so now we're going to do a very interesting Rambam. A question to ask you on this Gemara. So imagine this, picture this in your head for a second. You have Onkelos being carried out by the order of the king, the third time. And what happens, Yaakov? That he sees a mezuzah on the door and he says, guys, I know you're not supposed to talk to me, but what's this? What is this on the door? And as he's walking, he's probably kissing it, he's probably looking at it. Ooh, what's this? It's a scroll. Why would we put a scroll on the door, right? And he's like basically elaborating with it. So I want to read to you a Rambam. This Rambam is in Hilchot Mezuzah. I wish that we all had a Rambam to look at, but it's in Hilchot Mezuzah. 1 second.
When are we going to have the projector again?
Let's first try to get through Hilchot Mezuzah.
We can all read it with the Safari,
That's okay. If you want to open the Safari app, I'll tell you where to go. Go to chapter 5. Chapter 5, Hilchot Mezuzah.
Honestly, Safari is like...
It's a lifesaver, right?
That's why I read this. I just want to clean. With Safari. What are you finding? Where in Safari we go, Rabbi?
Go to the Rambam. So you have to go to the Halachot section and Mishnah Torah. The Rambam's main work is called the Mishnah Torah. It's good that you're asking this. I'll teach you how to find the... Okay, go to Hilchot, the book of love, Sefer HaAhava. Okay, and go to chapter 5.
Last one, mezuzah here. Mishnah Torah, Tefillim, mezuzah.
Correct. So chapter 5. Now go to Halacha. No, 1 sec. I'll find it for you. Here it is. Halacha Dalid. Minhag Pashut. Okay, so let's read it inside. I want to read it in Hebrew. And this is going to be very extreme. And then we're going to do the Kesef Mishnah. Who wrote the Kesef Mishnah? Please, somebody. The Beit Yosef. Okay? Okay. Okay. Minhag Pashut. שכותבים על המזוזה מבחוץ כנגד הרווח שבין פרשה לפרשה שדי ואין בזה הפסד לפי שהוא מבחוץ. Translate. You have Safaria now. They have to have it in English.
It's common.
Yes.
To write God's name on the outside of mezuzah, opposites and empty space left between two passages. There's no difference between this since the addition is made outside.
Okay, so let me explain what this means. You have a mezuzah, right? The first parasha of the mezuzah, ve'ahavta, it stops uvisharecha. Now the next line, by the way, the Sfaradim go uvisharecha all the way to the end of the line. The Ashkenazim stop uvisharecha, a space. Then they start ve'hayayim shamoa, also a space from the beginning. In that space, before ve'haya, according to the Rambam, on the opposite side of the mezuzah, you write the name of Hashem, Shin Dalid Yud, on the outside of the mezuzah, not inside. Okay? Now continue. Aval elu shekotvim mibifnim, shemot hamalachim, or shemot kedoshim, or pasuk, or chotamot, harei hen bichlal mi she'en lahem chelik la'olam haba. Go ahead, translate.
Those, however, who write the names of angels, other sacred names, verses, or forms on the inside of mezuzah, are among those who not have portion in the Ramadan.
You hear that?
They add Musafin.
They're mosifin, and let's see what the Rambam says. Why? She'elu atipshim lo dai lahem shebatlu mitzvah, ele she'asu mitzvah gedola shehu yichud Hashem shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu va'ahavato va'avodato ke'ilu hu kamiya shel hanayat atzman כמו שעלה על ליבם השכל שזהו דבר המהנה מאבלי העולם. Go ahead.
Not only do these fools nullify the mitzvah, but furthermore they make from a great mitzvah reflect the unity of the name of Hashem, blessed be He, the love of Him, and the service of Him, a talisman for their own benefit. They in their foolish conception think that this will help them regarding the vanity of the world.
Okay, so what is he saying here? Some people used to take a mezuzah, and inside the mezuzah they would write names of angels. Now, this is going to be interesting because the Ashkenazim do a very similar thing, except they do it on the other side of the mezuzah. So after you're done writing a mezuzah, you take the mezuzah and they turn it this way, and then they turn it upside down. So it's literally upside down, opposite the mezuzah. And where it says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. So Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, they have a special name of angels. What is the name? Yud Kei Vav Kei, they go one letter up. Yud becomes Chaf. Hey becomes Vav. Vav becomes Zayin. Hey becomes Vav. So that spells, I don't know if you're allowed to say it, Kav Vav Zayin Vav. Space, Elokeinu. Aleph becomes Bet. Lamed becomes Mem. And so forth. Each letter, you add the next letter. What's the next letter in the alphabet? And you write it down. The Ashkenazim do this till now. The Sfaradim, Rov Sfaradim don't do this. They hold angels of Shmirah. Okay? So now, they write it like that, opposite side. So if you were to hold a mezuzah in the light, you would see Hashem Elokeinu Hashem, you would see this name. You could Google it right now. Right? You could Google mezuzah, outside of mezuzah, angels written on the outside of a mezuzah. You will see for a fact that this is done on Ashkenazim mezuzot. Now, once they do that, the Rambam doesn't say that that's an issue. The Rambam says that what would be an issue if you write it in the inside of the mezuzah? Why would a person want to write it in the inside of mezuzah? Because he treats the mezuzah as a kameah. Kameah means a talisman, like you read. Amulet. There's difference between amulets and talismans, actually. Talismans are more, you're using images of that represent astral forces, and you write this down, and you hold that astral force in your dominion. Correct, you got it. And that astral force in your dominion is like to your benefit. So, for example, let's say you're going to war, and the astral force of Mars, you somehow carry a talisman that has the astral force of Mars written on it, and that talisman, Ze Asur, according to the Torah. We're not allowed to do it. Anyway, here's the mezuzah that David found. And what just happened? I just messed up.
I don't know.
Here. Do you see here on the bottom? Okay. How about this?
Yeah.
Okay? Yes. All the Ashkenazi mezuzot, so back of the mezuzah, upside down. So really here, it would be like this. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem. So Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? What comes after Yud? Chaf. What comes after Hey? Vav. What comes after Vav? Zayin. What comes after Hey? So this is Yud Kei Vav Kei, one letter ahead. That's one malach. Then Elokeinu. What comes after Aleph, Bet, and so forth? And then Hashem Echad. Hashem again, right? Again. So so this is brought in several different Sfarim. It's a whole shir for another time. I actually spoke about it once on Tuesday night. But yeah, these are malachim for Shmirah. And there was a minhag from a big rabbi named the Maharil. The Maharil says that before you leave your house, you should say certain psukim. Why did I bring this up? One of the psukim that you say before you leave your house, you put your hand in Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and then Hashem Yishmor Tzetecha Voecha Me'ata Ve'adulam, like you just read, Hashem should protect you. Baruch Ata Bevoecha, Baruch Ata Betzetecha. You read these psukim. Not every, like imagine it, for a person to live in the times of, I don't know, where people lived in the ghetto, or the people lived in with the Turkish, or the people lived with the Nazis, and you had 12 kids. 12 kids plus mother and father. So that's 14 people every day leaving the house, 14 people every day coming back home. And this, it's a miracle. So people would have these prayers that they would say before they leave the house. And these angels, they believe, why not add more angels? But the Rambam says a mezuzah should not be treated like a kamiyah. I don't know if the Rambam would agree with these shemot written. The Rambam agrees with Shaddai written on the outside of the mezuzah. And also, according to Kabbalah, that name, Shin Dalad Yud, represents Shomer Daltot Yisrael, Rashi Tevot. Shomer Daltot Yisrael. There's a lot of different explanations to this. Also, there are some demons that stay in a person's house. That's why certain things we do, like Havdalah. You say Havdalah. After Havdalah, what do? You take the thing and you put a little bit on the floor. Also, my mahronim, a little bit on the floor. They like that, so they stay in your house. Oh, this guy does my mahronim. This guy does sprinkles a little bit of the wine from Havdalah on the floor, and they hang out. That's why the Shin Dalad Yud represents dominion over the Shedim. So this is another thing that's important. However, now, yeah.
I'm sorry. Why are we taking a letter above Hashem's name? Shouldn't we take a letter below his name?
This is Kabbalah. I don't know this. You have to ask a Kabbalist.
There's a letter above Allah?
It's like Atbash. There's all different rules. I don't know. Maybe you look for it, bring us the answer next week. You ask the question. It's homework for you. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a little hint. There's a Zohar in Parashat Beshalach that says, Ve'ata harem et matecha unte et yadecha. Harem means bring down. Harem et mat, like truma. So the Zohar HaKadosh says, harem et matecha, bring down matecha. One letter below mem, lamed. Tet, chet. Right? Chaf, hey. And he brings, these are names of Hashem that are very holy. So harem et matecha, unte et yadecha. Pick up yadecha, yud becomes chaf, dalet becomes hey, and so forth. These are holy things. We're not on the level. We're up to Daf Yud Aleph in Masechet Avoda Zara in a year. I mean, we have to leave the Kabbalah for some of the,
That would be okay for Sfaradim.
So mezuzot for Sfaradim is okay, Ashkenazi. The only ones that's not okay is tefillin. However, I'll tell you what, really, uvish arecha going to the end of the line, there are a lot of poskim that write that for Sfaradim, it's mandatory to have uvish arecha be parashat stuma. So because nowhere in the Torah do you find parasha uvish arecha end in the middle of the line, and then vehaya start also not in the front. It also starts in a space. You don't have that. So for that reason, the Sfaradim hold that uvish arecha must go to the end of the line, and then vehayim shamoa has to start from a space, and that's the halacha. So therefore, it's best means to stick to your minhag. Also, the ktivat ha'otiyot, although it doesn't matter what the writing of the letters are. It could be writing. How many writings are there? There's ktav Baltanya, there's ktav Sfaradi, which is known as Velish. I don't know what that means, but Velish, okay. When I ask Velish mean, because Velish is spelled Vav Ayin Lamed Yud Shin. It's a Yiddish word, Velish. Okay. So then you have Ktav Beit Yosef. Ktav Beit Yosef is actually not the Ktav of the Sfaradim. Ktav Beit Yosef is very pointy. The shin on the bottom is a point. Also another characteristic of Ktav Beit Yosef is that everything is a box and the letter is in the middle of the box. So it will be like this. While the Sfaradi and Ktav of the Arizal, it's like this. So the shin would be like this all the way on the left, and then the crownlet's on top over here. But for Ktav Beit Yosef, it looks like this in the middle. So everything looks like staffs, like little mini letter Zions. That's what the difference is. So for Sfaradim, we use Ktav Merubah. Ktav Merubah means that it has to be more boxed writing, not pointy. So the shin on the bottom for Ashkenazi, the shin is like this, like a V on the bottom. For Sfaradim, the shin is more boxed on the bottom. It has to be more like that, squared off on the, like exactly. The shin on the tefillin has it. They have a point. We have a square. So that's called Ktav Merubah. You should stick to your minhag. Not just that, there is an inyan that your mezuzah, your sefer Torah, and your shul and your tefillin should all be the same style of writing. Wow. Because they have different sodot inside. See the inside of a letter pei for Ktav Beit Yosef, you'll see a bet inside. The inside of a letter pei for Sfaradim is also a letter bet, but it's a different style. It's all different sodot, orot. We don't understand these things. But now, you'll see why I brought this this Rambam right now with the mezuzah with Unkelus, let's start the Kesef Mishnah and Dalit. I'm going to read the Kesef Mishnah. Do you have Kesef Mishnah? If you click on it, you'll click commentary, go to Kesef Mishnah. For sure they have Kesef Mishnah. Okay. Okay, Kesef Mishnah comes to Beit Yosef and he explains the Rambam Minhag Pashut shekotvin ala mezuzah mibachutz kenegad harevach sheben parasha leparasha. Shaddai, the simple minhag in all mezuzot is that you write on the outside and the space between the two parashas the name Shin Daled Yud. Look at this. The Beit Yosef quotes the Zohar. Of Sefer HaZohar, Parashat Vayet Chanan, right? What word do you have there? I see. I have a mistake here. Okay, I'll show you later after the shir. Shetzarich lichtov Shaddai mibachutz keneged tevat vehaya shebifnim. So the Zohar says different than the Rambam. The Zohar says you write Shaddai across the name, across the word vehaya, not in the space, on the word vehaya. That's across the inside of the mezuzah. Ve'alma she'amar Rabbeinu, and what the Rambam says, that what? That you don't write anything inside. Ilu shekotvim bifnim shemot malachim, the tipshim and all that. He writes that they're stupid people if they write any names of angels inside the mezuzah. Katav Aramach. Who's the Ramach? Rabbi Mordechai Kohen. The Masechet Avoda Zara. In Masechet Avoda Zara, we learn mashma meha de amar unkelus legunda de Romae. We learn what Unkelus said to Gunda. What's Gunda? Troops?
Yes.
Troops. Ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu oseh mezuzah lishmor Yisrael mibachutz. Hashem made a mezuzah to protect the Jewish people from the outside. So Hashem protects his servants from the outside, while the Roman king can't even protect you from the inside. So he's telling them that Hashem is greater than the Romans. Why would you carry out the mission of the Romans instead of carrying out the mission of Hashem, and leave me the heck alone? Let me convert to Judaism, and that's it. And don't forget, it's like having the chief of the mafia become a Jew. Like you're disgracing the family. We're going to kill you. So they didn't want him to convert. So v'yesh l'tchok de unkelus hu de amar lehu le'achshuvinehu le'Yisrael ad kan leshono. He says, okay, so the fact that you have a problem with the Rambam that's saying a mezuzah cannot be used for shmirah. You cannot treat a mezuzah like a kamiyah. So if you can use a mezuzah as a kamiyah, doesn't matter if there's malachim written inside or not. Mezuzah is not a kamiyah, which means you cannot use it for protection. So what does that mean? There is actually brought sugyot in halacha. Let's say I have a treasure box in my house. I have a safe, and I don't want anybody to break into my safe. Back then, what, you think they had combination locks, laser fingerprints? No. You know what they would do to protect? They put a mezuzah inside the box. I should protect. Right? So the Rambam, would he be for this or would he be against this? According to this Rambam, he'd be totally against it. Mezuzah can't be a kamiyah. Mezuzah is not a talisman. So if that's the case, why is Unkelus telling them that the mezuzah is protecting the Jews from the outside? Hashem has protected the Jews of the outside. Why does he have to point to the mezuzah? Ve'en zo ta'ana, he says, this is not a question. De'ha be'perek hakometz. Where's perek hakometz? Masechet menachot. Perek hakometz. It's a famous part of the Gemara that speaks, the Lamed Gimel, it speaks over there about mezuzot, tefillin.
It says Lamed Aleph.
Okay, Lamed Gimel. Gabe mezuzah, by the case of mezuzah, tzarich, just listen to it, forget the page for a minute. Gabe mezuzah, tzarich lehanicha betefach hasamuch lereshut harabim. That you must put a mezuzah, a tefach of the doorway that is closer to the public side of the door. So you have, before, let's say a person had a wide door, very wide doorpost. Where would you put it? The mezuzah closer to your house, or the mezuzah would be closer to the outside? The mezuzah would be closer to the outside, closer to Reshut Harabim. Amar Rav Huna, my time. So Rav Huna over there says, why? Ki hechi de tanriya lekach, because of protection. So tzarich lomar de'en hachi nami she'a mezuzah shomeret habayit kishe'i ktuva ketakana. So there's no question that the mezuzah protects the house only when it's written ketakana, which means correctly. Lo malachim aktuvim ba mibifnim, not the malachim that's written inside the mezuzah. V'gam eina kavana ba'asiyata lishmor habayit. Also, a person doesn't make a mezuzah in order to protect the house. That's a wrong way of thinking. That a mezuzah, you're making it to protect the house. Ela, rather, the sofer tzarich she'ichaven, he has to have kavana lekayem mitzvat hakadosh baruch hu, to do the mitzvah that Hashem said, uchtaftam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha, umimele, and as a byproduct, nimshach shetishmor abayit. It will just happen to be that through you fulfilling the mitzvah of writing the mezuzah lishma and doing the mitzvah of mezuzah, the house will be protected.
The Rambam read answer back.
No, because the Mishnah was written about 400 years after the Rambam passed.
It's very strong.
It doesn't argue with the Rambam. Because first of all, the Rambam says writing malachim in the inside. Second, the Rambam says don't write a mezuzah as a kamiyah. Third of all, the kamiyah will be the protecting of the door. The Kesef Mishnah is saying, no, we see a Gemara in Menachot that a mezuzah does protect, and we see the story with Onkelos. The mezuzah does protect how? When it's written the way Hashem wants you to write it.
So basically just adding.
Correct. Correct. And also, if you look up the Gemara in Menachot, all mitzvot protect Jewish people. All mitzvot protect Jewish people. This one is a mitzvah that you put on your doorpost. So this one also protects your doorpost. It protects your house. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it a nice Kesef Mishnah? I think it's a very nice Kesef Mishnah. Okay. Guys, we're gonna make a party in 10 more pages. We're finishing the parak. It's not gonna be so far.
Another year.
Huh? No, 10 more pages. Man. It's not going to be another year. Look, we did half the page today. Next week we do the Tosafot and we move on. Okay. Very good job, Jacob. Very nice. Okay, so we got 15 minutes to go. Let's continue the Gemara. Okay. We're in the middle of the page. The first words on the place is La Shedar Batrei. La Shedar Batrei. Next word, Vayomer Hashem La. This is a pasuk in Parashat Toldot, in Sefer Bereshit, chapter 25. Vayomer Hashem La. Hashem said to her. Who's her? Rivka. Shene goim bevitnech. You have two nations in your stomach. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rav. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rav, Al tikre goim ele geim. If you look inside the pasuk, it doesn't say goim, it says geim. Geim is spelled with two yuds instead of a vav and a yud in the middle. What's geim? Geim means haughtiness. People that have a ga'ava. There is good ga'ava, by the way. A king is not allowed to not have ga'ava. A king has to have ga'ava.
Right.
Because if somebody talks to a king like a piece of trash, then he lost his honor. That's it. Somebody talks to the king wrong, you have to go like this. That's it. From then on, everybody's gonna be careful. That's how it's supposed to be. Ze Antoninus Verebi. So Ele Goim, who's the Geim? It's not talking about nations. It's also hinting to the two haughty leaders. Ze Antoninus Verebi. Antoninus Verebi, yeah, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Shelo pasku me'al shulchanam, lo chazeret, velo kishut, velo tznon. That they never were missing from their table. Chazeret, which is romaine lettuce. Kishut is cucumbers, and snon is machloket. Some say radish, some say it's turnips. Lo bimota chama, v'lo bimota kshamim. Not in the summertime and not in the raining season time. They always had these foods on their tables. The Amar Mar, the master taught, snon mechatech ochel. What does snon do? Radish chops up the food. Chazeret, lettuce, romaine lettuce, me'apecha ma'achal, flips the food into the gastric juices. Kishut, which is cucumbers, marchiv me'ayim, widens up the intestines. Ve'ha tana de Rabbi Ishmael, and the yeshiva of Rabbi Ishmael taught, lama nikra sheman kishuin, why is cucumbers called kishuin, like it says in the Torah, all right? At the zachar, at the shumim, at the kishuin, really, cucumbers are not good for a person. Why? It's so bad, it's kaharavot, it's considered like swords. So why are you telling me that their table always had what? Foods that were bad like swords? So it says, lo kasha, this is not a difficulty. Ha beravreve, ha bezutare. So there's two ways how to explain ravreve and zutare. Some say ravreve means that these were big cucumbers are bad. However, zutare, small cucumbers are good. They sell it. You know, I go to Netco sometimes. They have best fruits over there. Okay. Anyway, but over there, right, you go there and they have these small cucumbers, tiny. Baby cucumbers from Israel. Amazing, right? So some say zutare small. Others say no. Ha beravrive, ha bezutare means if you eat a lot of them and if you eat a little of them. So if you eat a little bit cucumbers, it's good. Just open up your stomach and that's it. You're only using it for the purpose of opening up your intestines. But if you're going to fill your stomach with cucumbers, there's no vitamins in it. There's no nutrients in it. So for that reason, you're just getting what? Fiber? There's nothing there. It's all water. Okay. So now, another thing, what does it mean that Rebbe was never missing these things from his table? So we know that there's another place that the Rebbe said that all my life, I never enjoyed from this world, even from my small finger. He was very rich, no question. We learned the Gemara before of how Rabbi Yehuda Nasi would receive money from Antoninus. He would put money in the bag and cover it with wheat and send it to him. Remember that? Okay, so what does it mean that he never was missing he never enjoyed from this world with his pinky? What does that mean? If he had everything on his table, he enjoyed, huh? Okay, so I read a nice shot from the Maharal, who he was just by his kever. And the Maharal explains that what Rebbe meant to say is all his life, although he had the ability to go and indulge in his riches, he always spent full effort, 100%, when he was learning Torah. But when it was things to do with work, money, nachalim, properties, he did it very minutely. You can't even call it with enough effort of one pinky. When it came to Torah, though, he took it extremely serious. He was all hands and feet inside. It's like that. It's true. Anywhere you apply yourself fully, if a person sleeps in his office and he only works all day, he's most probably going to be, good at his job. But if a person sleeps all day, on the Gemara, like they said, Yaakov Avinu, 14 years he never slept and he learned Torah. That's why he's Yaakov Avinu. It didn't say 14 years he studied martial arts. I didn't say that. It said 14 years he studied Torah and Yeshiva Shem Ve'ever, and he didn't sleep. He would fall asleep, and that's it. So if a person is Magia in that way, that's what it means. He didn't enjoy from this world even with his pinky. Yes, it's true. I went to Rav Steineman's house. Steineman? This man was probably 80 pounds. I'm not kidding you. Probably 80 pounds. First of all, his beard was all mushed together. It's not like he probably woke up in the morning, washed his hands, straight to shul. There's no let me see how I look. No, he didn't gel my hair up. No, it was not like that. He cared only about Torah, this person. And you sit there and you ask him about, okay, teach me about Ktivat Otiyot of Stam, Sefer Torah. He will go on for weeks. He will go on for weeks nonstop. He had so much Torah inside him, but there has to be sacrifice coming from somewhere. There's nobody that could say, I got both worlds. I got Torah, and I'm a billionaire, and I'm this, everybody loves me, and I'm a celebrity, and a nice car. It doesn't go. It doesn't work. Or here, right? Okay, so now we're going back to the explanation of the Gemara, of the Mishnah. Next week, we're going to have Yonatan explain the first two Tosfots, and I'm going to do the long Tosfot. You see the long one? Okay, I'm going to prepare that one for you. So now let's go to the